From JBS Studios in Greater New York, this is the JBS News Update with Teisha Bader.
I'm Teisha Bader with the JBS News Update for Wednesday, June the 9th, 2021. Israel's President Rivlin is in Romania on an official state visit this week, where he met with his counterpart, President Klaus Johannes, yesterday, among other officials, and today visited a memorial to the Jews of Romania murdered during the Holocaust. Earlier, Rivlin addressed Romania's parliament, where he was warmly welcomed. Rivlin spoke on a number of issues, including the threat from Iran and the recent conflict with terror group Hamas. Rivlin said the Jewish people and the Israeli people in all its diversity have no conflict with Islam or the Arab peoples of the Middle East. We are fighting dark forces, he said, that aim to terrorize and destroy the state of Israel and its people. Iran's regime of terror and those who collaborate with it in Lebanon and Gaza seek to undermine our right to exist. Israel, he emphasized, has the right and the duty to protect its citizens from the threat of nuclear weapons, from missiles, and from terrorism. The president also called for steps on the ground to increase confidence between the two peoples, confidence that the other side wishes to live in peace, partnership, and good relations side by side. Israel police charged 3 more Jewish Israelis yesterday, in addition to the 3 originally charged, over a brutal beating of an Arab man in the city of Bat Yam on May the 12th. One of several incidents of violence carried out by Jewish extremists and Arab extremists, mostly taking place in normally peacefully mixed Jewish-Arab cities in Israel last month, taking place on the backdrop of Israel's conflict with terror group Hamas. The Arab victim, who was seriously injured in the incident, remains in the hospital and is improving. And today, Israel police and Israel's security agency, the Shin Bet, said they have arrested 3 Arab Israeli residents of the city of Jaffa, who were responsible for a firebombing attack on Jewish houses in the city on May the 14th, who also firebombed an Arab home in error, seriously injuring a 12-year-old Arab boy and lightly hurting his 10-year-old sister. In a joint statement, the authorities said that in the incident, a number of Molotov cocktails were thrown toward several Jewish homes, and one was thrown toward the home of an Arab family, adding that the assailants fled after understanding their mistake. The 3 await indictments. A local Chabad center and synagogue in Tucson, Arizona was vandalized this past weekend. CEO of the Anti-Defamation League, Jonathan Greenblatt, shared the news that a swastika and an anti-Semitic slur were discovered on Monday, scrawled on the side door of the Chabad on River. Jewish news site Coll Live cited the Tucson Police Department statement saying there is no place for anti-Semitic hate crimes in our community, and they are investigating the incident as a hate crime, which Tucson Mayor Regina Romero confirmed on social media and stressed that anti-Semitism has no place in Tucson or anywhere else for that matter. Romero called the vandalism an absolutely disgusting display of hate and anti-Semitism. This, she said, will not be tolerated in our diverse and welcoming city. Adding, I ask all Tucsonans to join me in standing up and raising awareness on anti-Semitism in all of its forms. The ADL's Arizona office is on the ground, Greenblatt added, to assist the Jewish community in any way it can. Well, Israel has become the first country in the world to ban the sale of fur. Environmental Protection Minister Gila Gamliel and animal rights group PETA made the announcement today. The ban on the fur trade in Israel does, however, include an exemption for religious reasons, allowing for shtreimels, hats traditionally worn by ultra-Orthodox Jewish men on the Sabbath and holidays, which are made from sable, to still be imported, though importers will now need to apply for special permits. Well, the month of June is Pride Month, and some 7,500 people marched in Jerusalem's annual Pride Parade last week. The event, titled the March for Pride and Tolerance, was held under tight security this past Thursday in the capital in person. Last year's march was held virtually because of the coronavirus pandemic. Israel is seen as one of the most progressive countries in the Middle East and in Asia in regards to LGBT rights, and Pride events are held across the country every year. The Jerusalem Parade has been taking place since 1998. Taking a look now at our programming for tonight on JBS for Wednesday, June the 9th. At 7 o'clock, Israeli journalist Yossi Klein Halevi and American diplomat and Middle East expert Dennis Ross discuss the Six-Day War from a personal and historical perspective. At 8, Robert Siegel explores journalism after the pandemic with Steve Coll, David Folkenflik, Mitra Kalita, and Brian Stelter. At 9, Mark Golub sits down with former Israeli ambassador to the U.S. Danny Ayalon, who recalls what it was like to be a young boy in the harrowing days preceding the Six-Day War and the war's impact on Israel today. At 10, Shalem College's Daniel Gordis speaks about the high price of Jewish statehood. And coming up next, it's Thinking Out Loud. And that's the JBS News Update for Wednesday, June the 9th, 2021. I'm Teisha Bader. Stay healthy, stay well.